Hi, this tutorial is going over recreating something similar to this using Martin O'Neill's collage technique. The first thing I want to do is open up my side profile of my portrait. I'm going to choose side profile. You can use a portrait that's facing you, that's absolutely fine. And the first thing I'm going to do is use the quick selection tool to select my portrait. Remember, the quick selection tool is over here and the shortcut key is W. And I'm just selecting the whole of the portrait because I'm going to copy this into a new layer. So we want as much of this as clean as we can. There we go, I think that's everything selected. Once you're happy with your selection, you're going to go to Refine Edge. And we're going to increase the radius. At the moment, around the top of the head, it's not as clean as I'd like. So I'm going to just increase that radius. You might need to increase it a little bit more until you're happy with it. I can see here that's now cleared out a little bit. I'm going to just smooth it a little bit until I'm happy with that. And then I'm going to output it to a new layer. So just the selection we've got here, just the headshot, will go onto a new layer. Press OK. You'll see on your layers palette, we'll then have a new layer being shown. Perfect. From here, looking at that original picture, we need to look like we need to cut off some of the head. So I'm going to choose, rather than the lasso tool, I'm going to choose the polygonal lasso tool, or the shortcut key is L. And the polygonal tool will allow us to create a straight line. So first I'm going to click somewhere over here where my slice will start. Click. I'm going to drag it over here and click again. And that will then be the slice of my head I'm going to get rid of. I'm going to click again and then join up these three lines, and we can see these lines are going to join up when we can see the circle appear there. And you can see the marching ants. From here, we're going to cut and paste this section of head onto a new layer. So to do that, we can either go to Edit and Cut or Control and X on your keyboard. Now, we might want to use this piece of the head again, so I'm going to go Control and V, and that will paste it onto a new layer. We can move this and rotate this using the edge of the transform controls. So you might want to use that as part of your image, or you might just want to hide that layer completely from view. That's completely up to you. Now, this part of the image is then full of head. So you might want to use the crop tool and just increase your image to the right-hand side so you can see all of that slice of head. Or, like I said, you can hide that layer completely and not use that layer at all. Okay, now we've got our head, we're now going to start putting objects inside or coming out of that. So the first thing we're going to do is go to File and open up an image that you would like to include. First of all, I'm going to choose some nice flowers. And we can continue either to use the polygonal tool just to select part of an image. I'm going to start maybe selecting different triangles of different shapes. So I'm just going to click using the polygonal tool up here. I'm going to click and make a triangle that I'd like to then copy and paste into my portrait shot. So you can see here that I can see the circle where them lines are going to join. I've just clicked at the top and back down to the base of the triangle, click, and we can see the marching ants. From here, we can go to Edit and Copy, or Control and C, then back on your portrait shot, either Edit and Paste, or Control and V on your keyboard. And I'm going to choose the Move tool, and I can move it and rotate it and resize it to where I'm happy with. Make that a little bit bigger. I'm going to have that over here. And then I will need to change the layer it's on. I'm going to drag it underneath the headshot so it looks like it's coming out from underneath the head. And I'm going to select my next picture, File and Open. this image, a football match, I'm going to select another part of this image. So from here, we can decide what shape we want to have. So I'm just going to click around this part of the building, the stand, and then join them back together again, looking for that circle where I started clicking. Where is it? It should appear when I click on the starting point. Let's try again. I press escape. I'm just going to start again. If you press escape, it will cancel the selection. There we go. You can see here the circle has arrived, so that selection will then be able to be cut out. So I can go to Control and C or Edit and Copy, and Control and V or Edit and Paste onto our new layer. You can see it's here, so I've chosen the Move tool, and I need to move this layer and resize it. Holding down Shift to resize that. I'm going to start building these parts of my images up and resize them where I see fit. Click on the tick after you're happy, and then you might want to start having to play with the order in which these images appear. So if you want your flowers to be in the top, it will need to be above your previous picture. Again, I'm just going to open up my next image just as a final point to show you. I'm going to select maybe a meal, and again use the polygonal tool and select part of an image. Now it doesn't have to be a triangle, it could be any shape. Just by clicking, this will cut out part of the image. Again, if it messes up like it has done here, select and deselect, select and deselect. Or Control and D on your keyboard. So you can literally click around what you'd like to be included. You can be quite rough. I'm going to just select it like there. Edit and copy, or Control and C, and then back on my image, Control and V. You can see it's down here. If I use the Move tool, I can then resize it, rescale it to where I'm happy with it before I move on to my next image. Click the tick. Now this collage should be full of different images or different flowers that you might want to include as part of this image, and of course you can go back and resize and move them as you add more images to your headshot. Now on Martin O'Neill's image, if I go to File and Open, here we can see the headshot is in black and white and there's a background colour. So on our image, to make the headshot black and white, if I click on the image here and go to Image Adjustments, and then select black and white, because we've used image in adjustments and not the adjustments layers over here, this will just affect the layer that I've got selected. So have a look at the setting that best suits your image. There isn't one to answer. Once you're happy with that, you're going to press OK. And then the final thing to do is to add a new layer using the layer palette down the bottom right hand corner. I'm going to have a nice vibrant colour. You could select it from your image, or you can just select it yourself using the paint bucket tool. If it's hidden, it would be underneath the gradient tool. Left click and hold and go to paint bucket and click. Now this layer here will need to be moved right to the bottom of our image, and that could be one of your images completed.